Let's learn Chevra. So, we woke up. God gave us back our soul. Because our soul came back into us, the empty space, the contamination was leaving. It resides on the ends of the fingers. We wash it off. How do we wash it off? 3 times in alternate form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So really 6. That washes the contamination off the hands. But now it's wet it's on your hands. So the Vilna Gaon says to wash an extra time. 7, 8. Yeah. Which just makes sense. Because it's off my hand, but it's wet. So wash the contaminated water now off your hands. The Vilna Gaon is amazing, Tyrus. That's right. The more you get into the Vilna Gaon, you just see greatness. You see ge'enus. Unbelievable greatness. How do you pick up the cup? Everything in Torah means something.
Chesed. The GEVURAH is left. You go chesed first.
You pick with the right and you pass it to the left.
Oh. So which hand you pick up with the right?
Like shoes. Right shoe. Put your right shoe on, left shoe tie. Right shoe tie.
So I pick up the cup with my right. It'd be good if we had like one of those washing cups. It'd be like a nice demonstration. Sure, thank you, Yankel. Oh, Mamish, we've got the holy Jews here running to get washing cups. B'ezrat Hashem. So while we're waiting for the washing cup to arrive, we're going to set up a hammock bag. Shkoya. I had to give a shout out to the hammock. It's like looking around. Like,
you could from the
it's a legit spot.
Don't trust him, Rabbi.
Just so the whole world knows, this bag converts into a hammock in about
Hammock in a bag.
About 4 seconds, I believe. So I've heard. I know. As we mentioned it, this hammock bag is just rolling into the room.
Literally.
on short term.
Yeah, exactly.
Dylan
Dylan was already on that.
Always on. Now
Dylan has a company that sells hammock bags. Okay, so we had to add some of the the merch. You got to send the merch out. Okay, so hammocks in a bag. Oh, thank you very much, Yankel. Okay, here is our washing cup.
That's a negel.
The little negelwasser cup. What does negelwasser mean, by the way? Negel? Some Yiddish. Negel's fingers.
Nail.
The nails. Negels. So it's the nails, or let's call it the tips of the fingers, are where the nails reside, and Wasser is Wasser. So a little nail or little finger water. So here, though, we wash negelwasser up to the wrist, Rabbi Isaac. Okay, so you want to get. So how do we pick it up? You pick it up with the right, but then you pass to the left, and then you wash the right first. Now, why do we do that? Because everything in Torah has deeper Kabbalistic undertones. Right is always symbolizing of kindness, and left is always symbolizing of restraint, of saying no. The whole world works in this give, and it's like a candle. The candle is always shuckling. Sometimes you go forward, sometimes you say yes, sometimes you have to say no. If you're just a yes man, it's not good. You have to know when to say no. Because if you just say yes to everything, then you're saying no to something else. Sometimes guys are so sweet, they're like, so Rabbi, I was thinking, maybe I know that you're here 6, 7, so then maybe 9:30, we'll meet up in the base medrash. I know you're teaching. I could say yes, but then I'm saying no to my wife and my kids, and okay, cool, I got that. But it's interesting, you have to always realize when I say yes to something, so I'm saying no to something else. You have to know when to say no. And also when saying no is really saying yes somewhere else. That's also important. So the right side is always the side of giving, the side of saying yes, and you want to say yes. You want to be somebody that's saying yes to life. Life is offering you things. You need to know when also to restrain and to say no. You want to be able to say everybody can come to your house. say yes. You have to know if somebody, God forbid, is an axe murderer, God forbid. You have to be able to say, I'm sorry. It's not okay to come over. So no, when saying no is the appropriate thing to do. That's why it's a funny thing. Why does your house have walls? You have locks on your door? How could you? You're keeping people out. That's so bigoted of you. Absolutely bigoted. Some people. Why not have a house with no doors, no locks, no walls? Why don't we just live in the park? All of us. You like that idea?
Because we're still separate.
Because you have to know when to put up a wall and say no.
Once we're one, though.
Even once we're one, there's my awareness of the oneness that I earned through being in this world. There's my awareness of the oneness. In the world to come, we're all going to re-emerge back into the oneness, but we're going to be aware of it to the degree that you earn that in this world. That's why I was by Rav Lawrence Kellerman one time for a shir, and he told us he had a famous machloikus with Rebbetzin Heller, who is now Rebbetzin Gottlieb. So Rebbetzin Heller, who is one of the greatest female sages, Rebbetzin is known to be a tremendous sage of Jewish thought. Shalom Chevra! So nice to have you guys here. Bring them home. Oh, it's not there? It was supposed to be there?
I think it's supposed to be upstairs now. This is always cramps, you know.
Oh, I thought because they had the special classes up there. I'm sorry. If it was, I'm sorry. Very good. No, that is a legit spot. This is one of the legit spots, actually. There's always room, like we say in Israel, im yesh makom balev. If there's room in the heart, there's room. Yeah, pull up, Rabbi Isai.
Right here.
Very nice. Everybody's welcome. Come on home. Shalom, brother. What's your name? Aryeh Moshe Chaim. Nice to meet you.
I can hear you down there.
So, Larry Spot. Oh, this is nice. You know, this is Heimish. It's called Heimish. So you need to know. So the question was, let's start a little bit. Ariel, why do we have locks on our doors?
So control comes in.
Control comes. You're so bigoted. I'm just playing. Anybody think we shouldn't have locks? Anybody think we should live in the park? Just everybody together?
Maybe for like 3 days out of the year.
A 3-day, just like festival.
With a bunch of lights and sick music.
So we do have that. We have 7 days out of the year that we just hang out in booths together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh,
What is this called?
sukkahs. Oh, you're gonna love sukkahs. It's always the next time. You're gonna love sukkahs. It's right. It's 5 days after Yom Kippur. It's actually one of my favorite holidays in the entire year. We just party in thatch hut booths with God for 7 days straight. Party. We throw it down. That's right. Oh, beats for sure. We throw wild like.
Well, not on the first or last day.
Oh, okay. Well, the last day is not Sukkot. The last day. Well, that's a discussion in the Talmudic sources. Is the last day Sukkot, or is it its own holiday? But the first day, yes. Well, the first day you party just with no, lights and Fender electric guitars. The first day is just the contact without any creative work. The last day is already a new holiday. You dance with the Torah. Yes?
Is it a Jewish thought that like on Sukkot, like we go into the Sukkot, it's like
little portal for all the Jews in the world to.
Yeah. It says when you're in your sukkah, you're not in this universe. When you're in the sukkah, you're not in this world. You're in another dimension.
You're in like a physically built.
That's what it looks like to the naked eye. But spiritually, you've gone somewhere. You've gone somewhere. The spiritual world is very real, my friends. So back to us all living in the park. Why are we not in, why do we somehow feel like that's off? Because there needs to be boundaries. And therefore, when you get married and you have a home, you're saying that I'm married to my wife, and I have to be selective. It's not just like, everybody come, it's all good. There actually is a wall. And that's not bigoted, that's just being able to set healthy boundaries in a healthy way. That's very, very important. So everything to do with the right side of your body is saying yes to life. We're speaking about washing your hands, but it has to zoom out to this bigger concept. Everything about saying yes to life is the right side of your body. That's also why we shake hands with the right. You notice someone puts their left hand out, it's like, it's weird. It's awkward. Nothing against lefties. But you feel that the right side has a certain quality that we relate to, but also in a Kabbalistic Torah sense, the right side is an intrinsic nature. The right side is always the side of giving, the side of saying yes, the side of actually taking down borders. What Dennis was talking about, like actually, let's hang out in the park. Let's actually create oneness. So back to that discussion though of Rabbi Kellerman and Rebbitzin Heller. So Rabbi Kellerman said that the world to come, he was quoting certain sources, that everybody's an individual. And Rebbitzin Heller sent Rav Kellerman a Zohar. Rebbitzin Heller, who's now Rebbitzin Gottlieb, is a master in all areas of Torah. She's alive. She should have a long life. She's one of the master female teachers in the world today. The Rosh Yeshiva says that she's one of the greatest minds in the Maharal. He said that she learned the entire writings of the Maharal. The Maharal is like one of the most Kabbalistic minds of the last 300-400 years.
Who is this?
This is Rebbitzin. This is a female, Rebbitzin Heller. Rebbitzin Heller, that she learned all the writings of the Maharal, all like the secrets, the greatest secrets that Kabbalistic works are based on, while she was breastfeeding her children.
Oh.
You could space out and watch TikTok feed, or you could learn the entire Kisvei Maharal. So she chose the latter, and she's one of the greatest minds in the world today. So she sent the Zohar back to Rav Kellerman, and the Zohar essentially said an idea that the world to come is like your soul being a drop of water re-immersing back into the ocean. So that Rav Kellerman thought that was more of a Buddhist concept. So there was a machlokes. So Rav Kellerman said, but you're aware of yourself in the world to come. The drop of water is not. And Rebbitzin Heller sent the Zohar that said that you're like a drop of water going back to the ocean. So they sent this to one of the greatest minds of the generation in Chabad Chassidus, in Tanya. And the letter back to them was 2 words. You're right. You're both right. That the experience of the world to come is like the drop going back into the ocean, but you're aware of it. To the degree that you are aware of unity consciousness in this world, in a world of multiplicity, where you are able to have an identity in this world and create an identity, with that consciousness, and by the way, that consciousness is set up through Torah and mitzvahs, that's how you create identity. That is going to be the amount that you're going to be aware of the unity of God into the world to come. Shalom, brother. There's tons of space in here. It's basically empty today. Okay? So this was all an introduction of how we wash our hands. Because the right side of the body is like the boss. You want the right side, which is the side of giving, to be, which is unity consciousness, which is to be the guiding light. So you know what you do? You don't just, and therefore you want the right side to be served. So you would have thought you pick up at the left and just wash the right. Start with the right. You do, but it's more intense than that. You pick it up with the right and you send it to the left. The left is the side that's trying to make borders and say no. You need some of that, but who's really running the show? You take the right side of your body, which is the side that says yes to life, and you send it to the left and you say, you serve me. The right side's a boss. You see that? It's like, sends it to the left, says, you serve me now. So now the left should be totally subjugated. The left, which is about making multiplicity, about knowing how to say no. Putting up a wall is saying no. The left is like a stop sign. Stop signs, don't tell me what to do. Right? Stop sign seems like a very non-inclusive. We're about inclusivity. The stop sign is very non-inclusive. You're telling me to stop? No, you don't understand. I'm telling you to stop because that's going to create inclusivity that everyone's going to live. Sometimes you have to know when to say no. To actually say, stop the car now. Or stop your unhealthy habits. Don't tell me what to do. Or maybe those unhealthy habits are actually harming you. So the stop sign actually becomes a sign of life when used properly. But generally we want people to drive more than they stop. So that's the right side, is saying go, accomplish, give. So we take it from the right, we pass to the left, and the left serves the right. How many times? We said 1, this is in the morning, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that ruach ra is off the hands, but it's on the water. So the Vilna Gaon, you add 2 more. 7, 8. Okay? That's the way that we begin the day. Thank you, Yankov, for this. I appreciate that. If anybody's in this room, they're like, what is this ultra orthodox looking vessel that I'm holding? It's basically a way to wash our hands. Any questions so far?
How does the Jew wash his hands?
We do. You should use soap.
In the thing?
You can. You don't need to in the morning. If you feel that your hands are dirty and they could use some soap, then the simcha rabbah. Generally, this is. I'm not trying to give you anything but basic Torah advice. If a person puts too much soap repetitively, it could wash off natural oils that need to be there. Like a person is soaping all the time, so his hands could dry out, and the body makes natural oils to protect from bacteria and viruses. So you want to have the right amount. So yeah, please, if a person is dirty and needs soap, then it would be the responsible thing to do. Make sure you use soap.
A lot of times those cups are kind of dirty.
You can wash it if you feel that you
No,
would
like
like to.
can I do it and then wash like regular right
Sure.
after?
Of course, you can always wash.
No, but like let's say I did before bread, and I like do it, then wash regular in between the washing of that and the bread.
So and that's a good shaila. The question is it going to be an interruption? Is it going to be an interruption between you wash, especially if after you dried?
Like I don't dry. I wash with that, still at the sink, and then I get some soap and wash again. Kind of.
I think it's not part of the actual washing. I think it's going to be problematic, but I have to think more about this. I like the question. I might suggest to do the opposite, to actually wash, if it's of a concern, wash the vessel. Wash the vessel with soap and water, that you would feel that it's been sufficiently washed. And then you have a sparkling clean. You'll also help the next guy if he would also want that. And then wash, make the bracha, and then dry. I think that would be a better way to do it. I'm concerned that there's going to be a hefsek of washing more, especially with soap, after you did the washing for bread. But I want to think more about that. Yes, my friend, Ariel.
Like I know for washing or like putting tefillin, if you're a lefty, sometimes you do things differently.
That's right. So if you're a lefty, so tefillin goes on the other arm, because for yeah. So the tefillin. So we're going through the Jewish day a little bit. The tefillin, what's significant about the tefillin is tefillin comes very shortly after. After a person does the washing, we said they take that water, they put it down the sink, they dispose of it, then they go to the bathroom. Okay, when you come out of the bathroom, what's the first thing that you should do? Wash, correct. You're just in the bathroom. What about if somebody has a washing station in the bathroom? I'm getting no. What's your name, my friend? Sam, Shalom. Nice to have you here. Why would that not be a good idea, according to Torah law?
It has to do with the space of where you just use the bathroom. Technically, the sink that's within the same room is not able to wash it clean.
Okay, very good. So even though maybe that bacteria-wise, which anyways, if you think about it, you're in a room where there is waste. So you kind of just, even medically, you might say that it might be a better idea to keep, to wash outside of that room. There's particulate matter in the air. That's why, not as a good idea, keep your toothbrush on your toilet, that room is a room that's filled with, not the most clean situation. So even without the spiritual element, which we'll get to in a minute, Sam, he's saying a good point, which is that the room itself has a certain dirtiness to it. Now adding the spiritual dimension to it, if going into a bathroom, as we know, is an area of spiritual contamination. Does anybody know, if we were sitting in a bathroom right now, let's say a fancy one, Waldorf Astoria. I'm saying nice. Everyone's like, I'd like my house to look like that. The bathrooms of the Waldorf. So, could we be giving this class? It's sparkling clean. Why not? Because the bathroom itself, if it's a room that's designated for waste, it has a spiritual contamination. And therefore, how can I wash my hands? You could wash them in the bathroom, but you're not washing them for the spiritual contamination. You're washing them because the Waldorf bathroom probably has a geschmacka, washing station in the bathroom. But for the spiritual element, you want to come out of the bathroom to wash your hands. That makes sense? Is that we're talking about different levels of reality. There's a physical reality, then there's a spiritual reality. So we can't learn Torah in the bathroom, as clean as it is. Yeah.
When you do the uno, dos, tres, six on both hands,
and
you say your bracha.
I was waiting for you to go up to 6 in Spanish, but yeah.
You're doing that within the bathroom, though, not when you're doing the...
So
No, I'm saying...
okay, very good. This is a good point. We need to make another distinction. One thing you realize when you come to Torah, there's so many nuanced distinctions. That's why learning is very intellectually stimulating, because you need to know how to say, these two things seem the same, but there's actually a distinction between the two of them. And we'll end with this. The morning situation. Remember we talked about you wake up in the morning and you have something on your hands because you just woke up? What's that called? Ruach Ra. There's an actual contamination because your soul was up in heaven, most of it, and therefore the body was left without potential. And we said when the soul comes back in, so all of the impurity is leaving, but it goes to the fingers. That level of contamination can be washed off anywhere, including the bathroom. However, just going into a bathroom is a level of impurity, but not to the same degree as sleeping. Sleeping is the highest thing. Sleeping is so much that people have to be careful even of touching things or food and stuff like that. So that's the distinction. A person goes in the bathroom just to use the bathroom, better to come out and wash your hands. But if you have no washing outside the bathroom, you can actually do it inside the bathroom.
Instead of bracha outside? Or?
Always the bracha outside the bathroom, because the bathroom has an element of contamination to it.
But when we do for the bread and everyone goes in the bathroom and they do
so that's not very good. That's not considered a bathroom. There's no toilets in that space. There's no toilets in that space, and there's a door frame that goes.
It's a different dimension.
There's a different dimension. Very good. Door frames create dimensions in Jewish thought. Very, very important. Especially if it's the further away that it is. And especially because the stalls are closed. And especially if they keep it clean. That's why in the new building, the bathrooms, those stalls, and then you kind of go down the hall and then you make like a right where the washing table, that's even more separated. So even though there's no mezuzah going onto the door of there, going into the bathroom, which is it's called the vestibule going to the bathroom area, still though that's considered a clean place. Okay, I know today was actually a few technical points. You realize that so much of Torah is so nuanced and so relevant. What's a relevant thing we could take away from today is that washing your hands will give you an improved life. Give you an improved life because you're washing away a certain amount of something spiritually unclean. Why would I want that on my body? Remember we talked about guys yesterday saying like, I'm bugging out. I got like bugs on me, I'm bugging out. They don't actually mean there's bugs on me. It's that I'm bugging out spiritually. There's something that's like making me anxious. So the bathroom, anytime that there's like an impurity going into a cemetery, why do we know like it's a weird thing for guys to hang around cemeteries? The Gemara says it's like not cool. There's something impure there. It's like spooky if a guy like, so what do you do on your free time? Like where'd you sleep last night? You weren't in the dorms. In the cemetery. That's just spooky. That's not okay.
What if it's the mortician? He just likes hanging out there.
Career
That's
choice.
So
where he's comfortable.
there's a
Can't
difference.
judge the mortician.
There's a difference of sleeping there and you sleep in your home, but you make sure you go there in the morning to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Or you guard it from the outside. But going into the actual cemetery creates a certain amount of contamination. And what the Torah is teaching us is that anytime there's a contamination, a person will feel a bit like, I'm bugging out. There's spiritual bugs. So you can wash that off. That's the takeaway from today. Yeah, one more question, Sam.
It's related to cemeteries and like the ritual period of it. So then why is it that Kohanim and specific groups of people within Judaism are not able to go into the cemeteries and others are?
So very good.
How is that the impurity of a cemetery different from like the impurity of when we wake up
Very
in the
good.
morning?
Beautiful. Great question. So the Kohanim are reserved for service in the Beis HaMikdash. Are you Kohen?
No.
Any Kohanim here? Yeah, Jamie, my boy. So Kohanim essentially have an elevated status where they are reserved for working in the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore they have to avoid impurity at all costs. Because essentially, purity means that you're all potential. Like a dead body has no more potential. So a Kohen is all potential. They live in the world of life, of pure potential. And therefore, we keep the Kohanim, that's why they serve in the Beis HaMikdash. We keep them out of anything that's going to be impure, even though when they go to bed, though, they're showing by definition that I've lost my potential.
I want to visit my grandfather's grave.
So we'll have to talk about that. That's a big discussion. We'll have to talk about that. Okay, my dear friends, have a wonderful day. We should be saying the Shiv Tzidkein. Amen. Kol tov.